Did you sew this? Did you put this together?
No, I did not sew this. I actually bought this from a designer. Her name is Crimson's
killing it, man.
Yeah, she is.
Wow. Okay, cool. And did the jewelry come with it, or did you add
jewelry,
that?
I had it already from a designer in the Springs. Her name's Serena
perfectly.
Sky. Yeah.
Wow. The black and the pink,
I know,
it fits perfectly.
It all just blends together.
Oh my God. It's almost like you know what you're doing.
No.
And then the makeup. Oh, wow. It all matches. It's almost like it was on purpose.
I know.
Drag.
D-R-A-G. I had to stop. Do you see that?
We don't know how to spell. I don't know how to spell. Welcome to another episode of My Body, My Jokes. It's Morgan, you know me. We're in Dude IDK Studios, you know that. We're in Denver. It's cold. It's fucking ridiculous here. But if you want to support the pod, you know what to do. Throw a like, throw a subscribe, all of the things. I hate saying it, but we got to do it because that's how we keep the podcast alive, right? And if you ever have anything you want to share, you got ideas, you got comments, you got questions, you have struggles, you can always email me. You can always send me a DM. You can email the pod at mybodymyjokespod@gmail.com. I read it. I do get some emails sometimes that are a little inappropriate though. So use your caution, please. And of course, we have a few things coming up. We have the Hourglass Social on February 8th. We have the Roast of Diet Culture on February 27th. The two shows that I'm very excited to help produce and host and be a part of. We love talking shit about diet culture. That's going to be super fun. It's benefiting the Eating Disorder Foundation here in Denver. But enough about all of that shit, because today's guest is someone that I have been trying to get on the pod for like 5 months now. In the way that like she is so booked and busy that I just cannot get her. So I finally got her today. We have the biggest whore in Colorado, Miss Jessica Lahore. Welcome.
Hi. I'm so happy we made this happen.
I know. It's so tough because I feel like as people that have like you're more of a public persona person. Like I'm just like an idiot on the internet.
Oh my gosh.
But
stop.
like when you have like business emails, you have DMs, it's like hard to reach people that you're in the industry with.
And when you're in like you're doing really good about responding to Instagram messages, the other ones fail. So
yes,
if you
exactly.
go by email that week, I didn't get to you.
Yeah. I'm like DMing you. I'm like, okay, she's not going to check. Oh, maybe I'll message her. Okay, maybe there's another email. Maybe there's something else, but we made it work. So I'm very excited to have you here.
I will always respond. I will always make it happen. When it happens, we shall see.
Yeah, you did. Because I think the other night I DM'd you, and I don't know if we had DM'd before, and you looked at it immediately, and I was like, here's my number if you need anything. I was like, oh, perfect. She sees it. It's good.
We're good
it's
to
all
go.
good.
The scene.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so obviously you are the biggest whore in Colorado. Yes. People know that, right?
Yes.
You are a drag superstar. You are literally booked like every fucking day doing drag, which is so cool. But tell me a little bit about like, if you had to give like a little brief bio, like who is Jessica Lahore? Where did she come from? Where does she hail from? What's her story? What's her backstory?
Okay, here's like spark notes. Here we go. 11 and a half years in the game, 9.5 years full-time entrepreneur, business, artist, public speaker, you name it, kind of, or influencer now kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fort Collins is where Jessica was born.
Cool.
She was born in July. And now she is here in Denver. She travels all over the country, all over the state. Really thankful to be very booked and blessed and working really hard. Sex positive, body positive, host,
love it.
MC, entertainer. Miss Jessica for the families. And
I forgot to say.
And for the inappropriate
Miss Jessica for
HR
families.
at your local business party.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Miss Jessica. That's your spark notes. I've been in Colorado for a while, and I've been working the scene all from Denver to Fort Collins to Boulder, Greeley, and in between.
And it's interesting because I feel like those of us who haven't like been as into the drag scene, like people who literally only know about drag because of like RuPaul's Drag Race, right? They don't assume that places like Denver have drag scenes because it's not New York, it's not LA.
Denver gets so overlooked many a times, and it's weird when you talk about Drag Race. We have 3 people from Denver that have been on: Nina Flowers, Evie Oddly, and Willow Pill. We have Nina in second place and 2 winners. You'd think that they would, of the 3 people, look closer because there's so much talent, and that's not just like speaking for me. There's so many artists that I can see getting on Drag Race that I feel like they don't They don't look at Denver. They don't want it.
Are any of those 3 queens still here?
Evie has residency here, but she's traveling so much. And then Nina's in Texas, Willow's in Chicago.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that makes sense. Gosh, so how did you even discover the drag scene, especially in like Fort Collins of all places?
I came from a place of hating drag. I remember Drag Race being on TV with my friends and asking them to turn it off because I was uncomfortable. Obviously very insecure just with who I was and figuring it out. But the only reason I got into drag is because I had a boyfriend that really loved drag. Took me to a show, fell in love with the queen that was on the stage. I went to support him. And that night we went to Walmart, got a bunch of different drag things. He had some stuff and I did my makeup and he was like, "You're such an ugly woman. You should never do drag again."
Nice.
I continued to do it 11 years
You're
later.
like, not only am I going to do it, I'm going to be a fucking whore. I'm going to be a whore doing it.
And he doesn't do it anymore. He did it for like a month and that was about it.
And that's tea.
And that's the tea.
And that's the tea.
And we were together for less than a month, so that's the tea. It's even better.
And that's on period. That's oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
That was my introduction into it. So then I performed at CSU, Colorado State University.
Wow.
Had a local drag queen, Alana Filipina was her name, noticed me and put me in a show. My first show.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that. Were you kind of taken in as like a drag daughter in a way, or just more like a mentor?
Pseudo. I would say more mentorship.
Yeah.
Instead of like the family relation thing. We had like a troupe family, but not like immediate drag family.
Yeah.
We all supported each other. There weren't many artists in Northern Colorado doing shows. There was one venue to find drag, and that was us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Do you have your own drag daughters now that you've been in the game?
Yes, I have I just popped 2 out. Boom.
Oh my God.
I had twins this last month.
Love it.
I have I think she's 16-year-old. Her name is Sassalina Bluechild.
Wow.
And she doesn't get the Lahore name, but she's part of the House of Miss Jessica. There's Talia Tucker Lahore, Foxy Lahore, Chase Bottoms Lahore, Chrisagana Lahore, and Taki Lahore.
Wow.
I know. She's barren.
So how does it work? I gotta know, like, so do they have names and then once you adopt them they get to add on Lahore? Is that how it...
That's a really great question. It's half and half for my kids. So Talia, Krissa, and Chase were already established artists for quite some time. They already made their name. They're business professionals. And when they joined the house, they had the option to bring the Lahore name onto it, or we use it for certain promotions or certain shows. Foxy and Taki were like straight out the gravy. It was like brand new artists, never done drag, never did makeup, never put anything on, and so they just took the last name.
Wow. How do you even like decide? Do you go for, when you want to adopt someone, do you go for like potential, like, oh, I see them, or is it like, no, you're perfect as you are right now, or is it like, you fit my aesthetic, you fit my idea of what drag is? Like, how do you make those decisions?
You know, each person in my family represents such a unique style of what they do, and what I'd say is they do it very well. There's a level of confidence mixed with a level of humbleness that allows each one of the people in my family, and granted Taki's new and so she's learning, but to be self-sufficient, to stay out of the drama, to hustle, work hard, advocate for what they need. And there's just this weird gut feeling that there's an endless support system in this group, but it has nothing to do with the style of drag. I want every person that I meet in drag, honestly, outside of my family, doesn't matter, to do what they want to do.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Just own it. If
great.
That's your style, that's your style, baby.
Yeah. I love that attitude. I feel like from the drag queens I've met from Denver, whether they were like at a comedy show or they like, we've had some drag queens in the studio, I feel like it's such a supportive scene.
It really is. It's grown to be more supportive. I would say once COVID hit and we got through a couple of months of that drama that just happened in the scene, it calmed down and really became a hold on to people, support people, go to shows, create opportunities. I think the energy shifted. Of course, there's pettiness and cattiness that pops up every now and again, but ultimately, Denver is very, I got your back.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I love that, man. That's cool. Okay, so I ask everyone on this podcast, obviously it's My Body, My Jokes. Yeah. Tell me, what is your current relationship with your body?
I really love being able to say this because I feel like I'm in the best relationship that I've had with my body in my life.
Love that.
Every day is very different. I would say that it's changed so much because of the mentality that I have about my day-to-day life. And that's from like my psoriasis, my psoriasis, the way that I eat, my relationship with food, the way that I look at myself in the mirror, being a trans non-binary person, but having a very masculine presenting body, but wanting to present very feminine regularly.
Yeah.
It's a constant, it was a constant battle day to day. And I'd say it's far and few in between. It still comes up, but I think you learn how to manage things as you get older. Talk to me 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Oh.
You mean when you were 3?
When I was 3 years old.
Yeah, when you were 3 years old 20 years ago?
Oh, sorry. I looked into your soul and I realized what I said, and I can't do it. 20 years ago, it would be a very different story. My relationship would be, I could tell you, I would start crying. I can talk about it, but it was so different. And now I may wake up as you are, how you feel that day.
Hell yeah.
I wake up and I dress the way that I want to dress, and I show as much or as little skin as I feel like that day. And it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem. And I eat what I want to eat when I'm hungry and how much I want to eat it. And I have control and moderation over it. And I have a regular fitness routine, but everything is just the mindset. And the days that I'm not feeling my best, it's a reminder to sit in that and be like, that's okay, but wake up, brand new day.
Wow. That seems like such a healthy mindset.
It is.
I wish I could take that.
It's really hard. It's a daily practice for years, probably 5 to 6 years, every day of doing various things, from staring at myself naked in the mirror, telling myself daily affirmations, posting memes that I resonated with, and making Facebook like a journal, even though it bothered other people. I did stuff every single day until I was like, not having to make the Facebook post.
Right,
and then I was able to actually believe what I was saying. And then I was dancing naked in front of the mirror for hours and I couldn't get out of the bathroom. So it progresses and it gets better. It's just, I'm really thankful to have a really strong willpower, a strong mindset about it too. Yeah.
So are you telling me that healthy habits work?
Yeah. Healthy practices.
What
and
a terrible thing to be told.
What a terrible thing.
They work? I have to do them?
It's routine. It's the dedication and routine.
I think that's the toughest part, because I say this all the time. I feel like when I do affirmations, it's like so corny, and I know it's like not like, but I cringe when I look in the mirror and I'm like, you're beautiful, you're worthy. I'm like, this is so, like, I'm like, what if someone walks in on me right now? Like, this is, but I know I'm supposed to do it. Yeah. Like, I know it's that the whole point is like, you feel cringy because you don't feel those things yet, because you haven't been doing the affirmations. But I love that you are realistic and like, no, it took me like 5 years. Yeah.
And it still happens. There are days that I'll say those things and I'm like, oh, I don't believe that today.
Yeah.
But I have to get to a place of believing, convincing myself.
Yeah.
You are beautiful. You're worthy. You're talented. You matter. Your body, your skin, it's good. Enjoy the skin that you're in. Yeah.
Do you feel like that journey has coincided a lot with your drag career?
Yes and no. I'd say at the beginning I used drag to mask the eating disorders, the body dysmorphia, and because everybody was attracted to Jessica. Yeah. Everybody wanted a piece of Jessica, and I was a body queen. I would not pad. I would just shave my legs, and I would have a tight tuck, and I would have my coochie out, and I would just like live my life, and people loved it. But it really ate into me and made me want to be skinnier and thinner, and it wasn't a healthy relationship. It was a mask. So I was very unhappy that nobody knew me, Zach, out of drag. So that made things worse. So Zach's going through it, trying to manage it in drag. It was very complicated. I wasn't out for the first half of my drag life to anybody. I was closeted from family, from coworkers and friends. So managing 4 to 5 different personas while on top of feeling depressed and struggling with eating and food management and relationship with your skin. It was awful.
Gosh.
It was a really awful time. It was dark. It was depressing. It was lonely. It was vengeful. It was just a bad time.
Oh my God. That was like, I feel like I was there with you just now. Yeah. The adjectives, how did you get to a place where you were like, I'm going to change this?
Trigger warning for anyone that is, struggling, but it was attempted suicide. Yeah. It was that like last moment of feeling the worst, and I had a friend that instead of giving me like a coddling treatment, gave me tough love, but it was from a friend that could do that and was like, you've been struggling with this for years. Her name was Crystal. You've been struggling with this for years. I've seen you destroy yourself and talk down to yourself over and over and over again. And then what happened last night? happen, and thankfully you had people that stopped you from driving and for being stupid and whatnot. So you need to decide right now, are you going to let your demons control your life, or are you going to take hold of them, or at least try to fix it? Because you sitting as like a pity party isn't fixing anything.
Wow.
And of course that fucking sucks the night after you hear that, but it came from the right person. And it that day I flushed my diet pills. I threw away my binder in the middle and whatnot. I took all the scales out of my house. I don't ever ask the doctor. I never touch scales. Like
can't.
There's things that I just avoid, and I do what I need to do. But it was daily. Of course, you go back to it. Everything kind of breaks. The habits, and then you're like, oh, I had a couple of good days at least.
Yeah, that is so powerful to have that like moment of, okay, I need to just kind of jumpstart it, and it's so tough because I feel like a lot of us are kind of in that zone of, oh, it needs to just be a one day thing. Like I'm going to quit cold turkey. One day I'm going to start affirmations and I'm going to feel better. And it's like, no, this is not a linear journey, baby girl.
It's a never ending. I truly believe anyone that deals with or manages body dysmorphia, eating disorders, any kind of history of trauma with that, you never forget it. It never leaves your mind, your body, your soul. You learn how to manage it healthily, and when it comes up, you have logic behind that. And not everybody is fortunate enough to have the same mental strength or ability to do that, and some days are easier, but I have caught myself going back to it, and I talked to my partner about it. I'm like, you notice this trend in me, I want you to call it out. Because I do resort randomly to food being a reward for doing something that I feel like I did bad.
Yeah.
And like I deserve to eat this now that I did this. And that mentality is destructive. And calling myself out is important.
Yeah. How beautiful is it to have that relationship though? To be able to have a partner that can do that.
I mean, that was my red flag. We went through red flags at the beginning, and it wasn't cheating for me or anything. I said, if you ever tell me that I shouldn't be eating or eating too much, or if you moderate what time of the day I choose to eat, or if I get fast food, or if I just had dinner, now we're having second dinner, whatever it is, we're done. Yeah. I will eat when I want to eat, however much I want to, whatever it is. And granted, like I said that because it's my own I don't need somebody criticizing me.
No. And that's like a really powerful thing to do, to be able to be like, hey, just so you know, I've done the work. You're not going to undo it.
I have a zero tolerance policy for it. Yeah. And just so you know, like I'm telling you right now, I won't stand for it.
Gosh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool as fuck. That's awesome.
Thanks.
I just did a episode with Nick, my boyfriend, and we were talking about like he has been watching me go through recovery and like how weird that is for him as someone who's like never really been around like eating disorders or hasn't really been exposed to it. And it is,
in your entire relationship, has he seen the progression of you?
Yeah, because we had been dating for a year before I even started recovery. And I think he probably knew that I had an eating disorder, like when we started dating, and then I would like told him I like came out with an eating disorder, and he's like, yeah, you know what I mean? But it is interesting to feel like we're opening up this dialogue now slowly where we can be like, no, I want a partner that is supportive in these ways. I don't need you to like tell me when to work out or tell me how to eat. Like that's not what we're doing anymore. Whereas I feel like maybe 10, 20 years ago, you know, when we were in the womb, like that was fine.
Yes,
we're still young.
In the womb.
In the womb.
You know, that's a really great point. My current partner caught me kind of at the best moments of my life after a lot of that. But if I look back to my exes Brandon or Arthur or anything like that that stayed with me during those hardest moments, you really do see that support system and what that looks like.
Yeah, that's so tough. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about, you were talking how your relationship with your body really changed because you were a body queen and you didn't do padding, which is pretty common in drag,
it's split. It depends on the artist. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you make that transition or when you're, because this is something I'm really interested in as someone who hasn't been through it, like when you're going from being Zach and then being Jessica Lahore, how do you balance like what your body looks like as Zach versus what it looks like as Jessica?
There's like two hard pieces to my answer. The first is that I love, as a drag artist, being able to play with shapes of bodies and showing, you know, going out and being naked and showing that my normal body is just as beautiful as if I cinch to a 20-inch waist and I have giant titties this big and an ass and I'm just curvy as hell or anything in between. I just love the variety that bodies exist, and they can exist in different ways.
Yeah.
I think, oh God, I lost my second part. It was so good.
The piece about what your body looks like as Zach versus what it looks like as Jessica.
Oh, the second part is that I now am into a regular fitness routine, probably 2 to 3 years in. My body has changed drastically. And I'm now more muscly presenting, and I almost have to phase it out and get into a mental image that I don't look like muscle Barbie in makeup, that I'm feminine and soft and whatnot. But it's very clear to many people, and people love reminding me how manly I look in drag.
Versus what you might have looked like in the past, because they've seen you kind of go through that.
Yes.
How awful.
It's so weird. It's very weird.
Oh, God.
But those people aren't regularly part of my life. They're one and done. So it doesn't...
Or they just don't understand the fucking idea that humans evolve over time. Like, you get older, you expand your career.
There are still times now that I'll do body drag. It's now about storytelling for me.
Yeah.
Does this character need curves? Does this character need a butt? Does this character need big titties? Does this help personify the character that I'm telling in this performance?
Right.
That's how I decide the body.
So do you, obviously you are like Jessica Lahore. When you talk about these different characters, is it just like a different Jessica that night?
No, I would say it's just like the morphing of the performance. So, for example, like you asked me about my outfit. This outfit story character is the grown-up Pebbles from the Flintstones.
Yeah.
That is this personified character that I'm trying to build in what I do. It's the same thing with the music choices that I have, what I wear. Is this a Target worker? Does this lady work at Target and she's trying to check you out? Yes, I have a Target outfit, of course.
Hell yes.
She has a modest body, but she's got a fat ass.
Yeah,
okay?
of course she does, because she's in those khakis.
Just as much as an intergalactic queen of the universe that doesn't have any chest or has 3 titties, what does that character look like?
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Is it typical in the drag community to have that perspective on changing changing your body, or do a lot of queens just stick to like, nope, I got my hip pads, I got my fake boobs, like that's it, that's who I am?
I would say a majority, and I can't speak for all drag artists, a majority of artists that I run into are very much this is my drag,
right? Yeah,
and it stays in that realm. There's still a large percent, I would say, of artists that are constantly changing their shape, their makeup, their style.
That's great. And that's cool, because that's what drag is, right?
It's too
like,
much fun.
Yeah, it's an exaggeration. It's like hyper femininity. Like you are just being a character. And who says you can't change it?
Exactly.
That's so wonderful.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. So how do you feel like body expectations, or maybe let's say beauty standards, play into the drag community, or maybe even the queer community, in your experience? Obviously you don't speak for everyone, but like, what has been your experience with the beauty standards of like being a drag queen versus like being a queer person?
The acceptance of you do your own drag, no matter how you look, whatever your body is so much more accepted now than if I look back when I started 10, 11 years ago. Body drag was unacceptable.
Really?
Unless you served body, like
Interesting.
womana body. Unacceptable. You were padded, you had chest on, you had your tights, you had your girdles, it was drag. That you showed up in drag, you left in drag, and you didn't do anything with weird facial hair. You shaved your arms, you had your pit shaves, body hair was the thing. It was very different, and it was even different further back just from hearing stories. Now people were in a world of just like, all drag is valid. Do what you want to do and express however you feel like and whatever makes you feel comfortable in the skin that you're in. I would argue that doesn't mean all drag is good, because that's subjective.
Right.
If that's not your style, that's not your style. There's a difference about respecting the artist that's on the stage, like doing their thing and having a good time, and then are you entertained by what that artist is doing? There's some people that, if you're not wearing tights and you're not stoned and wearing jewelry, then your drag is shit, and I'm not tipping or cheering for you. And then you have those supportive people that literally cheer for everyone that is getting on that stage, killing it and having a good time.
Well, it's like a lot to put yourself out there like that. I mean, it's like comedy. Like, you're literally going up there and you're just talking to a bunch of strangers hoping they laugh. The fuck? What is that? You know what I mean? It's so weird when you think about like performing, do you ever take a step back and you're like, this is odd that I do this? You know what I mean?
I will often look in the mirror, even before makeup or when I'm about to go on stage, and be like, this is what I chose to do for my life. This is what I'm about to do. I'm a woman about to go tell some jokes.
Yep.
And shake my ass a little bit and have a good time.
I'll catch myself like in the middle of I'll be like talking to a guy in the crowd or something, and in my mind I'm like, I'm getting paid to just talk to this fuck who probably voted for Trump and is gonna go home and drink 5 Bud Lights.
That part who probably voted for Trump.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, great.
That's
like
so
this
funny.
is so great. I don't know,
but we love it, and that's why we do it.
Yeah, it's just like part of being a performer is like you have to have almost just a tiny seed of ego to be able to get up there at all.
It's the sprinkle of delusional confidence, just enough to believe
the Delulu
you.
in me.
The Delulu. I had a shot of Delulu. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're talking about body drag. We're talking about the different expectations. Yep. How do you feel? I'm curious. This is just something I thought about. How do you feel about straight people doing drag, or straight like cisgendered women?
I love it.
Yeah, cool.
Everyone should do drag.
Yeah.
I, as a business person, always say it's just like sales. Everyone should try it once. Everyone should try selling something once. Everyone should try drag one time. The amount of weird confidence and things that you learn about yourself when you get into makeup or a wig or a costume, it's wild.
Yeah.
How much that boils out of you that you didn't know that you have. I think everyone should try it once. It may not be your thing. I'm not saying everyone should be a drag artist or should get on stage, but try it.
Yeah. It seems really fun.
It's fun. Have you ever done it?
No, I would love to.
Should we put you in drag?
I would fucking love it.
I would put you in drag.
I would totally do it.
So what's your shoe size?
9.
Perfect. Perfect. You can have this outfit right now.
I'll go to the open stage at Hamburger Mary's.
Do it.
And just
oh my gosh, I would cheer you on. What's your name gonna be?
I don't know.
If I've been putting you
something
in drag.
really stupid, like Amanda shit on or something. You know what I mean? Or like
Amanda shit on.
Or like
Dick.
Or like Lauren Order. You know what I mean?
Rolanda Floor.
Yes, exactly. I love a like really bad pun name. I feel like that's hilarious.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
You're so funny.
But I also I was a dancer my whole life until I did comedy, so I have a huge dance background and I miss dancing a lot.
You would slay the stage.
Oh, it would be so fun. But I also, here's the thing, I can't walk in heels to save my life. I look like a fucking fawn on ice. You put me in drag. 2-inch heels. Oh my God.
It's your drag.
But I want to be in heels.
Okay,
I want to be able to. I know. I need to get a pair. I need to get a cheap pair and like walk around the house or something.
Vacuum in them.
Because I'll go. You know what I did? I went to a heels class, and there's like specific dance heels that you can wear that are made for dancing, so they're much more flexible. They're like 3 inches, 3.5, 4 inches. I went to ARC and I bought like 2-inch heels for like $7 because I'm like, I'm gonna fuck these up. Yeah, I need to just
kitten heels.
I'm like shaking. Tell me why I'm like shaking.
Really?
Because I don't know how to balance, which is so weird dancing for 20 years. Like I'm like, I don't know how to balance in heels on the balls of my feet.
All the dancing goes out the brain.
Yes,
you're like, what happened? My legs don't work the same.
Immediately. Yeah. I'm like a high school wrestler in there. I don't even know which way's up.
Maybe a chunky heel?
Yeah, chunky heel would be better. I've always done like a chunky heel on like a boot. That's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, extra ankle support.
Yeah, it's the ankle support. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at personally.
Well, when you're ready to get into drag, you let me know.
I'll fucking do it.
I would love to.
You have a very fun series online that you do called, is it Ask a Drag Queen Anything?
Yeah, Ask a Queen Anything.
Ask a Queen Anything. Yeah. And it's so popular that's how I first saw you on the internet, and probably how a lot of people catch on to you.
Recently, more than ever. Yeah, a lot of people show up at shows or even just in general and be like, I follow you on TikTok.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And you do, so it's like a man on the street style. You have a microphone, you have like a sign.
Yeah.
And people just kind of walk up to you.
Yeah, I pick a location, I stand there for, anywhere from 20 to minutes to an hour, and people come up, they ask me a question I've never been asked. I give them $1.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You give them $1.
I give them $. So yeah, we started the idea kind of as a joke. Me and my marketing team sat down and we got really stoned, really just we were really creative that day. And I was like, you know what would be weird? Like, I'm always getting $. Like, what if I gave out $?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's so great. We'll do it this one time. And it blew up. And then we started doing them monthly, and we've done 1 to 2 a month since we started the series over a year ago, and people love it. They eat it up.
Oh, absolutely.
Different outfits, different places. We'll go to different shows or events or buildings, different areas, and see what questions we get.
Yeah. Have you always done it in Denver?
No, I've done one in Texas. I did one in Houston, Texas. I did one in Los Angeles and West Hollywood.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to take it everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to do an Ask a Queen tour.
Yeah, it's so fun because it's just such a simple. And how long have you been doing it for?
A little over a year.
A little over a year? Okay, cool. Because I know that man on the street style things have gotten so popular. Yeah. And I always make fun of comedians that do it because it's such a, like, in the comedy world, I feel like it's such a quick grab to be like, it's always male comedians. They'll like go up to a girl and they'll be like, what's your body count? And they like shove their phone in their face. And then they're like, this is going to go viral. I know it. And I'm like, be original or something. You know what I mean? Like, this series, original as fuck.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you put effort into it. Yeah. You have an outfit. You give $1. Like, you have a set. It's funny to me that that's like taken off.
Little pieces that make it work so well, and it is from the costuming to the setup that we have. But honestly, it's just the quickness and the blunt honesty of the answers. I don't bullshit. What I say is accurate as fuck.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've been asked?
I don't know if I have a weird is really hard for me. It's really hard to weird me out. But I'd say the most memorable is I had a very intoxicated person, and I was dressed as a poop emoji. I was in a onesie.
Okay.
That was a poop emoji with a crown on it. And he was very drunk. We didn't air it, but he was like, Are you Bambi? And I said, No,
Bambi?
I'm a poop. And he's like, Okay. And then he just stumbled off.
And you didn't air that?
No, we did that part. The rest of the interaction. That was
okay.
the question. Yes, it was are you Bambi? It was this long,
wobbly
sway.
Pause.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm a poop. And she's like, all right. And just walked off. That was it. I was like, that was probably my most memorable one.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
And you've had like children come up to you too.
That's the thing is, all these videos where people go crazy, the comments are disgusting. It's like a groomer, whatever you want to say. It's old news at this point. People don't realize I stand there and people come up to me. I don't coerce
you're not, like,
anybody.
hounding them.
No, I say this is what I'm doing. I'm giving away dollars. They come up to me, and every parent is with their child, standing right behind their child.
Mm-hmm. I also
these kids have better questions than the adults.
And it's like, what is the obsession with the children? Like, they're talking about children more than like people are actually.
That's
my god,
the question
I just don't
that
even.
needs to be asked. Everyone's like, why do you need to do it in front of children? I'm like, that's not the question. The question is, why do you obsess about thinking about why we think that we need to be around children? Because that's not it. Most of us have no desire to be around any of your kids.
I can't remember if it was your comment section or another Colorado Queens comment section that I was looking in that made me crack up. Was like, someone commented saying, I don't understand why we need to bring children like into these clubs or whatever to see drag queens. And I feel like it was you like commented back and was like, newsflash, kids aren't allowed in clubs.
It probably was me. I love calling people out and fucking with people in the comment section so much, but they say ridiculous things. I'm like, what nightclub have you been to where you've seen children? Like, where are they going? This doesn't exist. Yeah, where are they going? This like, underground club?
You can't even go to... Can you go to Hamburger Mary's if you're under
Only
18?
if a show is not happening. You have to be 21. Okay. Otherwise, you can go for dinner. But
so it's like, where are these kids? My God.
It's the obsession.
It's so weird.
It's really weird.
As someone who has dealt with a lot of hate myself, it's definitely caused a lot of, like, moments in my life that have shifted my I guess motivations and trajectory of my career. How have you dealt with that? Because you've also had a very meteoric rise online.
Oh my God, like I said, Facebook comments, Instagram it's disgusting. It's the things that people come up with, and now that Meta does not flag inappropriate language, it's even worse. And I didn't think it could get worse. You know what? It does not bother me.
Really?
Nope. I read every comment. I make sure every good and terrible comment is responded to in some way, whether it's sassy, whether it's just a blanket statement of you're ignorant and uneducated, whether it's the rainbow flag, whether it's me being playful that day.
Yeah.
These are people that have no influence or merit towards my life that are owed no explanation. I've been explaining my life to people for too long. You want to come on one video on a 30-second clip and make every judgment because you have no idea. You're not educated enough to speak on this topic, yet you inserted yourself. It means nothing to me. I read everything. I don't care. It would matter more to me if I read a comment from somebody that was my friend, my coworker, my family member, somebody I worked with, somebody I knew personally, and I read a comment and I'd be like, wow, that's really shitty. I'd probably address it then. But these are all people that have nothing better to do than to fight with me online, and you're triggering the algorithm. You're promoting my content.
Yeah.
You're helping me get views.
Also, they're going to see more content like yours because they're commenting on it.
You're getting more drag on your timeline, but most of the time it's because they have a weird fascination with it, more so than a problem with it.
You ever have someone comment something really mean and then later they're in your DMs?
Oh, yeah. The amount of people in my DMs that are trash and I just send my Venmo code to.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the only appropriate response. I'm going to start doing that shit.
And that's it. I never get anything, but it's the only thing. And then they're like, oh, you stupid this and that and that. I just send my Venmo code again.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's great. There's something empowering to me not to let it to get people. Maybe I'm in my own head or naive.
Yeah.
The only times that it's gotten scary is I have had people, it's public, my schedule. You can see every event that I'm at, and I do have to be cautious because there have been several occasions where I'll go into an event and I have to tell management and I have to tell the staff that I had a threat and that they were specifically saying they were going to come to this show. This person has a blank profile. I have no idea who they are.
Right.
And you can't take those things lightly.
Yeah.
I had probably three or four in the last year.
Gosh.
Of just like blatant, I'm coming to the show, I can see your schedule, and then it's not fun. You know, and then it's, you block them and whatnot. But I don't care otherwise.
Did you always not care? No. Or did you get to a place
it's part of your healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the journey. I was so obsessed with what people thought about me in the comments, or just opinionated, or what I would see on other posts about me, even in my own community. And it got so bad that it was destructive and depressing and awful. And I was a victim to it. And I just don't care anymore.
Wow.
You know nothing about me. You're commenting all that. You know nothing about me.
Yeah.
You want to call me a groomer? Okay, you know nothing about me. My response is usually I don't do hair. Like that's It's just it's 2025. There's nothing that you can say that I haven't heard that I don't need to justify. You want to take my computer because you think I'm a pedophile? Go ahead, take my computer. I can't. These are the people that you can't convince.
Yeah.
They're going to think that regardless of what you say, how you say it, they're going to believe that. There's no telling. There's different people in the comments. I've had some great interactions where people are open-minded to listen and ask genuine questions. There's a weird vibe to the questioning, and then by the end of it, they have a different understanding of it. But that doesn't happen often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting to go through that because if you haven't experienced it, you don't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like before I had any type of public anything, I used to think, oh, well, like, just ignore it. You know what I mean? I specifically remember I used to be a huge, like, Kardashian fan. And when Khloe started, she was always, like, shit on. And I used to always think, like, oh, well, she should just ignore it. She should just ignore it. And then as soon as I started doing comedy and posting online and, like, going viral, I was like, oh, it's kind of hard to ignore.
You said it the perfect sentence. When you're going viral, when you're succeeding, when you're doing something right, when you're doing something good, when success is coming your way, that's when haters roll in because they're not experiencing the same thing. Yeah. And they'll do anything to dwindle and take you out, and you continuing and you ignoring it or responding and saying, I see your comment and it means nothing to me. Yeah. Almost reminds them that you're still going to continue to be successful while they're behind that keyboard.
Yeah. Oh man. I got to get there because I'm at that place where I block a lot of people. Yeah, I'm so blocked. I'm like trigger happy with that block button. And it's because I just feel like I don't have the time anymore or the mental space to be able to like even allow it on my page or respond or anything. That's fair. And sometimes I'm like, oh, like I've had friends be like, oh, well, you're letting them win if you do that. Like you're letting them win if you delete their comment. And part of me is like, yeah, but I also just like, I don't want I don't want my house to be a place where people come in and can sit on my couch and talk shit. I'm going to kick them out.
Listen, every artist, every entrepreneur, every person that's online handles their own individual perceptions of what they want for their content. And I respect that just as much as letting them do whatever they want to do. It's not letting them win. You're the winner in this situation. They have nothing to do with it. You're the winning in this situation. If you're deleting their comments, turning off comments, whatever that does to fill your cup and give you some sanity, do it.
Yeah.
He's not letting them win. That's not my perception of it.
Yeah. It's such a weird, the internet is so weird.
It's disgusting.
And you've like through your drag career, like you started it when the internet was like not like this.
No, we had Facebook and YouTube and stuff, but it was before TikTok.
Right.
It was very mild. People didn't have the same kind of access to it or care about it as much. Also, drag overall was not a hot topic 10 years ago.
Right.
Nobody cared.
Yeah.
People only care because of Trump and Republicans that decided that this is the best
hotter
distraction.
than ever.
So yeah. Back in the day, people didn't really care as much. It was very much we all stayed and did our own thing.
It's so interesting, huh? Going through that kind of like,
yeah.
Now it's TikTok, or like a few years ago, it was like, something else. Now it's TikTok. I'm sure something else will pop up, whatever. When we started the episode, you mentioned that you are body positive, sex positive queen. Tell me a little bit about the body positive. I'm always curious to know what people's perspective on the body positive movement is in general.
So my perception, a lot of it when I say it that way is because I'm on the microphone. I'm guiding an experience for people and I need to sell them in the first 3 minutes that they're in good hands in a safe environment. So I do tell them, I may say a lot of really inappropriate, disgusting things and I paint fucked up images into your brains, but I'm a sex positive, body positive bitch that's here to have fun and make sure that you leave feeling respected. And there are a lot of entertainers that cross that line in their comedy style.
Oh, really?
When it's not... drag queens were sassy, whatever, and then they'll go up and call somebody old, fat, bald, whatever. And they think that mean girl mentality is part of the joke when nobody's really laughing and you don't know how that's going to impact that person.
Yeah.
So a lot of my comedy style is around... it is around sex, but it's generalized topics of humor rather than being like, look at this person, this person is this way, or it's something that is clearly like untrue. But my idea of body positivity is expressing, wearing, and using your body and the skin that you're in whatever way that makes you feel as though you don't have to, you don't feel insecure. You don't feel weird about it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. It's like you have doing whatever you have to do for yourself to get to the place of positivity.
If wearing a bra and panties every day is what makes you happy and that is the way you want to show your body, go ahead and do it, bitch. Like, live your life. Yeah, everybody's gonna be, but that's the body positivity thing. It's not just like you're at a point of being so comfortable that you can do things that other people can't. It's that you do them authentically to the way you want to express yourself. Yeah. Do you feel like in your experience with drag, body positivity has become more of a I guess theme throughout drag queens, or do you feel like in the until someone's shady?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Everyone's all cute and cordial, and then someone fucks up and is really mean, and then they're like, "Well, you ugly, twisted bitch, you're crusty hairline, and you can't even cinch your waist." And that's when it comes. And I'm like, these are so low blow, but nobody was attacking you. You shouldn't have been a piece of shit. Now people are coming at you, so it's kind of like this back and forth. Nobody's gonna call you out. Everyone stays to themselves. Do and wear what you want, but if you're gonna fuck around, find out.
Oh, yeah. Fuck around and find out immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like no one brought up bodies, but you decided to be a bitch.
Yes.
So,
or it's always the one that calls out someone else's body that then, so now we want to tear about bodies, so let's talk about it. And then they go back in on, and then, the victim mentality. Yeah, whatever. But
that is interesting.
Yeah, it's a very weird dynamic.
It is a very, I feel like all performance types of industries are similar in the way that, like, even with like dance, comedy, I've noticed it's like we all want to support each other, but there is that air of competition. And then when it comes to like the looks side of it or how you represent yourself, there's almost like this weird undercurrent where it's like we don't talk about it, but when we do talk about it, we get fucking into it, and it's like mean and bad.
Because you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it in any industry that looks a play an unfortunate impact in everything that we do, whether we talk about it or not. So having healthy conversations about it is really nice, but it's there.
Yeah.
Just because you don't see it or practice it doesn't mean other people aren't.
Yeah. Interesting. So I wanted to ask Fupa this when she was here, and I completely forgot because we went on like this whole tangent. But I'm curious to know, RuPaul's Drag Race is obviously this like huge cultural fucking standard almost now of drag, to where people who don't know anything about drag, that's probably their first introduction, or that might be the first kind of like thing that they see.
They know it, yeah.
Right. Do you feel like that show has helped the drag community, or do you feel like maybe because the beauty standards and like the standards of drag on there have gotten so high that it's almost like hurt the community? What's your take on the influence of the show?
I think that Drag Race helped the drag scene, but the fandom destroyed the perception of the help.
Oh, okay.
I think the fandom is in control of, should be more in control of not only the language that they use for their favorites and the way that they support their favorites, or the way that they choose not to support their favorites. They're awful. They're awful. They're like the conservative people that we talked about earlier. They're awful. So I think Drag Race allowed for a platform to be seen, recognized, humanized, from people from so many different backgrounds, body types, shapes, experiences, and more. And I don't think that can go unrecognized. I think that the fandom has invested themselves so much that they've lost the idea of what is reality on the TV, reality in real life versus what's on TV. And because they don't separate that, they see what's on TV, then they come to a local show, and there's like, that's not Drag Race. When in reality, they should say, wow, this drag is different than the drag that I see on TV.
Yeah.
Probably because it's produced and it's on TV.
Or the fact that those people literally have to audition several times, usually have been in the industry for years, know how to sew, know how to do the looks, know how to do comedy, know how to dance. Like, I've always wondered that, because I've been to Hamburger Mary's when I used to live in Jacksonville, and then when I came here to Denver, and I've noticed some people be like, oh, this isn't, I thought it was going to be like better. And I'm like, wait a minute. Well, everyone here is like doing what they want to do. Like, what do you mean you thought it was going to be better?
And what's better to you? Better is not what you, it's the Drag Race thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like Drag Race.
Yeah,
well, it's not, because you're in a tiny bar in the middle of this state. Yeah. This is what we do. This is real life drag.
Yeah.
This is reality
Whether
drag.
it's a show or it's like an open stage. Like, there's different levels to it.
Also read the promo. Open stage. First timers welcome. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, first time drag. It's not pretty to look at, but you look at it because you're like, I was there. And these people are going to grow up and get better, because with practice, you get better.
Yeah. It's...
Well, with practice, you should get better.
Right, yes. You should get better. Not everyone is cut out for it. It's the same thing with comedy, where like when people go to an open mic, they don't understand that it's an open mic. So there are going to be people who get on stage who have never done comedy before, and they're going to fucking suck.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, oh, wow, I thought it was a comedy show. No, baby girl.
No.
This was an open mic.
This is you show up and see what you get night.
Yeah. Or the idea that people like have to practice to get better. Like, when you start drag, when you start comedy, when you start, like, you're not going to be immediately... Well, I had a very weird experience because I took a comedy class. And the guy that, I wonder if I've ever talked about this on the pod, the guy that taught the class wrote all of the jokes for us to perform at the first open mic of this studio. And I, at the time, did not understand that like comedians write their own jokes, and that this guy who was teaching me wasn't really supposed to be like writing my jokes. I was
going to say, that doesn't seem...
Yeah, like I don't know why I didn't really understand that yet. So he wrote a 5-minute set for me, and he had been doing comedy for 10 years. So it was like a really tight set. Yeah. So I had a really good first set. Like it set me up for failure, because then the next set I did, it was like stuff that I wrote, and I was like, oh, That was bad. And it was because like I obviously was just starting.
You had a good first run.
Yeah, I didn't know there's like joke structure, there's timing, there's cadence. Like I didn't get all that, but I understood after I was like, no, okay, now I need to write my own shit. Yeah. You get better and you understand, and you get more comfortable.
Flow, the way you speak, the way you say your jokes, the way your punchlines come out, you learn your groove.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but yeah.
Your second time was not the good
My
one.
second time was so bad. And I like was at that point where I'm like, I'm inviting all my friends. I do comedy now.
I just killed it this last time.
And of course they want to come see me because they're like, oh, you do comedy now. Whereas now I'm 4 years in, no one wants to fucking see my shows.
Oh, girl, I got to this place where I'm like, if I ask you, it's because I'm pulling the favor card. I have not asked you in 11 years to come to anything, and this is the event I need you to show up. You're like,
I need butts and seats.
Otherwise, I love when people just show up. I love seeing my family and friends or just like other coworkers, but I didn't ask you and you chose to be there. I'm like, that's so much more rewarding than me dragging you out of your house to come to the show.
Yeah, I don't want to have to ask you. I don't want to have to ask you. Yeah. Unless it's a show I'm producing, and then I'm like, come hang out. We'll kiki. It'll be fun. It'll be good. This has been a really good episode. I'm so glad that you got to come here. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
You're so easy to talk to.
Good. Okay, good.
You're so easy to talk to.
I'm glad. Well, that's always been one of my insecurities on the pod is like, am I like good at interviewing? What do I do? I just did an episode on perfectionism. Ooh. And I have to remind myself, like, it's not that serious. Oh, like no one's listening being like, well, she fucking paused. She coughed into the mic.
Our
you know
flow
what I mean?
Is so perfect today.
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect.
Even when we realized 20 years ago.
20 years ago we were in the womb and there's no contesting that. There's no contesting that. So I have my affirmation board and I have all kinds of fun colors that you get to pick from. So our listeners know that this is the board that everyone signs. It's called My Body, My Affirmations. Yes. And so what I have people do is just write your favorite affirmation and then sign it for me.
I'm going to.
And I promise I will not cut it out and sell it on eBay. Unless you get really famous, and then we'll talk.
I think that's fair. I'll do a personal one for you, whatever you need.
Some people have written stuff about their body. Some people do stuff.
Orange, that's fine.
Oh, is it orange? Oh, man. Some people write just kind of like any affirmation about whatever. I think Fupa wrote you're ugly. You know what I mean? So whatever works for you. I think this has been my favorite part of the pod is like seeing what people think is an affirmation versus what is just clearly like a quote or something. And I love it all. I think it's all valid. So you'll have to read to us what you have there. She got the gold. She got the red. Ooh, she got the ... We're doing a masterpiece. This is cute. Oh, no. This poor board has seen better days. It's all like crumpled up because of being passed down in the studio. If you're listening to the podcast and you're not watching, you should watch it sometime and see the board because it's very fun. And once it's all full, I want to like frame it and we'll put it in the background of the next like setup for the podcast. All right, what do we got?
I want to sign it now.
Oh, we're doing 3 colors. No, I love it. We're doing an orange, we're doing a gold, we're doing a pink. We're doing a blue. Cute.
Okay, so I did, and I did this a while back, took a break from it, and now I'm reintroducing it this year. Manifest, mindfulness, and motivation, okay? And essentially manifest your dreams, mindfulness over the people and situations in your life, and motivation comes every single day.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Cute. Manifest, mindfulness, motivation.
Mm-hmm. My 3
Jessica LaHoya. I feel like I have to say that in like a, what is that, a New York accent? Jessica LaHoya. LaHoya.
Sorry, it's my smoker.
Like I just inhaled a meatball sub. LaHoya. Okay, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, you can find Jessica Lahore on all platforms at Jessica Lahore. That's Jessica, and Lahore is LWHOR. No E, because I'm illiterate.
Miss Jessica for Families.
Miss Jessica for Families in HR.
Yes, we love it. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I definitely want to have you back. Please. If you're ever, I mean, you're going to be
putting you in drag next time.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
We're putting you in drag next time.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do the pod, talk to each other while I do your makeup.
You're going to beat my face.
While we talk.
Yes, it's going to be perfect. My God. I love it. It's a date. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for telling everyone where they can find you, and I will see you soon. And thank you for listening. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to My Body, My Jokes. Please be advised that the information provided in this podcast is for general discussion purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Always, always, always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare professional with any concerns you might have regarding the topics discussed in today's episode. Also, if you or someone you know is struggling with an eating disorder, please call the National Eating Disorders Association helpline at 1-800-931-2237. Bye.